live. Welcome everyone.
Let me host.
Let me host.
Okay, look.
Host quick. Welcome everyone to the Shin-Arken podcast. This is episode 11. Talking about Necro core specializations today. Going over that. We got Arken here. What's up, Arken?
What's up, dude?
What's up? How's it going?
It's going great, man. Let's tear it up.
Let's tear it up. And we also, this week, have guest Choxie. What's up, Choxie?
Aloha.
Hello. For those who don't know, Choxie is probably most well known for starting the whole trend of Necros fearing people off the edge and Edge of the Mists with all of those fun spectral, all the spectral stuffs. But Choxie's also got his own YouTube channel and all that fun stuff, and he's a streamer and all that. So we can do all the plug-in later.
I love plugs.
Yeah.
What's going on, Choxie?
Doing good. I am just ready to let the salt flow with all these changes.
Let all the salt flow. You've been, over the course of the week since I bugged you about jumping on here, you've been like, I can't wait to dump all the salt on people.
Yep, got buckets of them.
Buckets of it.
Alright. They've been getting kind of low though, so we still got a lot of salt to go around though.
A lot of salt to go around. No one will be sodium deprived here.
Nope. NaCl for everyone.
Alright, so, I guess we can just jump right in. You want to just go from top to bottom like we did last week there, Choxie?
Alright, sure. No problem. Alright, guys, so as you guys know, Necromancer, we are the class that just gets by. We don't get anything crazy. We don't get anything nerfy. We just get enough to get by. You know how some classes, like the last big power spike was, of course, Ranger. Everyone loves Ranger. Purge all the Rangers. Hashtag that. Twitter, Instagram, everything. But as Necro, we've never gotten anything crazy. And with these changes, all you've really gotten were some combinations, maybe a couple of fun things, but we still lack in areas. A lot of Necros can agree that we still suck in PvE. Can you agree with that here? Yeah?
Yeah, you don't really give...
Your role isn't there, unfortunately.
You don't give anyone anything fancy. You just, hey, I'm gonna DPS and be super selfish.
Right. And that's pretty much all we can do. We still are a selfish class. We don't bring much to a party. We don't have reflex. We don't have stealth. We don't have fight stacking. We just really don't. We're very selfish. All we can do is shank things ourselves and move on. But with these changes, you really won't see much, party-oriented stuff except for something called vulnerability that they gave us a little too much of.
Yeah, I'm looking at your I'm looking at your new spike traits and I see Vuln.
Right?
Like at least 4 different spots of Vuln.
It's crazy because you look at other classes which can apply Vuln quite frequently. You have the Ellie Lightning Storm, you have Warrior auto attacks. What else you got? You just have all of that stuff there. And Vuln is, it technically is party oriented, but it stacks at 25 and everything, and easily a 1 skill from Elementals can do that.
Now, do you think that with the increase of bleed stacks that this may also be increased? Because I could see that too.
I don't see vulnerability being capped over 25 though.
They actually confirmed that it's not going above 25 because
that's really unfortunate.
100% increased damage taken would probably break a lot of fights and a lot of people.
But I gotta say, at least from my experience, it's very difficult to get more than... I've never really had more than 10 stacks of vulnerability on myself, even from a Mesmer Shattering. It seems very difficult to get it that high by itself. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I would actually think it'd be kind of cool to actually increase it up to where the other stacks are just because of that fact that they're already increasing it. I mean, yeah, if you stacked it up ridiculously high to, say, 100, holy shit. But, I mean... I'd like to see it. I don't know.
I think if you were to apply a vulnerability like that to PvE, you'd probably have to make it less applicable, or not applicable, like less readily available to a lot of classes. Because, yeah, if you're going to stack it up that high, it's inevitably going to get up to 100 or so with the number of people who are beating on, say, world bosses and stuff like that. And I don't know, I could see that just causing a lot of balance issues. Because when you're dealing with percentages and, yeah, I think that would get ugly really fast if it went over 25.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because
I guess I'm mostly speaking from an SPVP point of view, I guess. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting that. But that's how I would feel. Again, as fighting against players, I've never really had that issue of having, again, 25 or even 20 being stacked against me. Could it be possible? Absolutely. It definitely could happen. It just seems a lot less likely, is all.
I'm just gonna say, you have your blocks and your blinds and stuff. You know what I have to deal with on a regular basis as a warrior? I have to deal with 25 stacks of fallen from Shatter Mesmer.
Ire,
I can't.
mofo.
No. Well, when you're not in range of said Mesmer and they just shattered, I have to deal with that 25 stack for a little bit, and it sucks.
That's fair.
All right,
And
but
on the PvE side, I just wanted to say that if they do increase it, you have to look at things like increasing HP caps too as well. Like, if you're going to get 100 stacks consistently, you're going to have to buff that boss's HP by a ton. And what if you don't have those 1 stacks, then you're going to have to burn through all the HP anyways.
yeah, that's what I was saying with the whole balancing thing.
Yeah.
It's just
So
not,
balance is there.
not a fun time for them balancing PvE encounters.
Right.
I mean,
But
you
yeah.
want to jump into Spite there? Or?
Yeah, so we'll jump into Spite. We'll QQ about the phone later. But first off, we have reminders. Yes, Spiteful Renewal, Deaths and Praise, and Siphon Powers. So, looking over these, they do, of course, stick to the whole power trait line. So that's good. But first, is Spiteful Renewal, which is actually this is one of the things that was first on stream and made me very excited because I was like, wow, look at this trait. It's a minor trait, and look at it. Gain health and lose conditions when you strike a foe at below 25% health. That's pretty huge because back then, this is basically a combination of well, actually not a combination, but basically when you killed something, you gain about 900 HP without any healing power, which is pretty huge to just get for killing something. But now this is when you hit someone under 25%. So this technically gives us a little bit of sustain, which is nice. We don't have sustain on our, on a necro. But
Yeah, that's actually a pretty nice trait now that I'm looking at it. I mean, I personally would probably, I don't know, like, it's really strong, but at the same time, it's also, like, really situational. Like, it's only under 25% health, so, like, I don't know.
Do you think the healing might be a bit much? Because again, versus a player, again, I only speak really from a player versus player point of view.
Mm-hmm.
But again, obviously you can't ignore the PvE side. You just, especially with the vast majority of people playing that. But for player versus player, I'm not saying this is too ridiculous, especially with such a low threshold and there still being an internal cooldown. There is still that ICD there. But do you think maybe the 2k heal, because it is, I think, almost about 2,000 base, is a little too much, or do you think it's in the right spot?
no, I think it's well. If anything, if I experienced this it was about 1,000. I think it was 2,000. That's a little too high. If it is 2,000, that's kind of high on a 5-second cooldown. If that's true,
Well, again, I'm looking at the tooltip because if you click it on Dolphys, it says 916. But if you're doing it against a player, veteran, or stronger, now we're talking player here for PvP. It's 1921. It more than doubles. So that's why I was curious what you thought. Because again, I'm just going to round it up to 2,000 because you're looking at 1921. Do you think that might be too high? I mean, I don't think it's too ridiculous because again, the threshold is really low, and there's still an ICD there, so you can't just spam it. You know what I mean?
yeah. So okay, now I see it. It's 2,000. I didn't see the tooltip, but yeah,
Right.
that is a little high, if anything, considering we're gonna get things like actually later on we're gonna be talking about Signal of the Locust and how they're gonna be changing that as well. But yeah, it seems a little too high. It might, but then again, one thing I just want to kind of iterate here is that numbers will change.
Yep,
Of
numbers.
course.
Because
Yeah,
numbers.
I don't
That's
want
what
to
we
talk
did
too much
last
about
time.
numbers.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk too much about numbers. I just want to talk about the functionality.
Of course, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so a heal and a Condy cleanse when you're attacking someone when they're low, this kind of just helps you kind of what's the word?
Sustain
just kind of-
yourself. That's
yeah,
all.
sustain yourself. But
Especially if it's a close fight where you are, you both are around that area, it would definitely help you. Absolutely.
yeah, this is kind of like a snowbally trait, if anything, though, because if you're working that person down to 25% health, and if it is a really close fight, this is your chance at trying to kind of run it back or have a what's the word? Mechanic to just heal yourself up and everything.
Yeah,
There you
but you gotta remember one thing that they mentioned a while back with Necro is they wanted Necro to be that class that's slow, but as soon as you engage them, they have you. Like like fighting a Necro is supposed to be scary, and like since they can't move a lot, they basically want to have you have like a death radius, and then if you start fighting a Necro and you get in a really close fight with a Necro, that Necro is supposed to have that advantage. That's kind of the theme they were going with at least a while back.
I agree with that, and that's what Necros are. You fight to the death. You don't run away.
Quite literally.
You don't. Yeah, you just stick in there. Of course, the other guy can run away, but then you just laugh.
Don't mind me. I'm just gonna. Great, sorry. Don't mind me.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate that.
If anything, this is a nice sustain for Necro.
Absolutely.
It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it is a minor too. I mean, it's.
Yeah, you can get it for free.
Yeah.
You have the choice, but it's really nice. Alright, but moving on.
Death's Embrace.
We do get. We got our. So wait, are you guys looking at? Okay, Spiteful Talisman is next. So this is over the focus. No one uses focus. Straight up. No one uses focus right now.
Really?
Really?
No one uses focus.
I thought focus offhand was the thing, like scepter focus for your standard Makandi build on PvP.
Scepter Dagger is the most
Oh wait,
one on
you're
the
right. Wow, my goodness.
No worries.
Well, isn't Axe Focus a thing?
Axe
No,
Focus
Axe
is a thing.
Warhorn, isn't it?
Axe Warhorn or Axe. Well, the thing about Focus is that it's very, very situational. It's one of those tools that if used correctly, it can be very strong. Because if you look at the skills, just to go over it really briefly, Focus 4 does a bouncing 4-stack Vuln. So you can technically get 8 stacks of Vuln on someone if it bounces, at least once. And then number 5 is the also famous Spinal Shivers. So that's basically if they have 3 boons, the more boons they have, the more damage it does. And this thing hits hard. This is the thing that's a trait called the Chill of Death. If they're below 50%, it removes up to 3 boons and does a ton of damage depending on how much boons it removes.
Oh yeah.
But this is the actual skill on the focus.
Oh, so it's not a convert. It's just a removal.
Yeah, no, it removes.
Okay, I was thinking it was conversion for some reason.
It removes and then it just applies chill. But it hits hard. I mean, as you guys see with things like Downstate Necro, if you hit that thing in Downstate, it can get up to like 8 to 9k.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So this is the actual skill. But overall, don't forget they're making the focus skills 1200 range now instead of 900. So if you're up against, let's say, like a PP Ranger with like Rampage's 1, this can help you close the gap if anything now since it's farther. And if you're removing those boons, you'll do 5% more damage to people with no boons now, which is, it's a nice bonus. I didn't really expect it.
That seems kind of useless because
Yeah.
regardless of what class you play, it seems you're always going to have at least one boon on you at all times. It feels
That's what I was
like.
going to say, too.
You know, I mean, that's why I feel like this is kind of weird. I would hope that they would change it to where it would deal more damage to somebody who had a boon or more. Because when do you not see a boon on someone, honestly, in combat at all? Everyone has boons going regardless.
That's right. So, I mean, if they're going to keep it like that, I say increase the percentage damage to the 5%. Like, it rewards you for actually removing those boons and keeping that boon conversion or boon removal up. So maybe like 10% or 50%
That'd be cool.
even.
Absolutely,
That'd be
because it's going to be so difficult to keep that up because everyone's going to have something on them at all times. So I could see that being a lot, just buffed a little bit more for sure.
Yeah. So that's that.
Rewarding skillful play.
Yeah, rewarding skillful play, exactly. Because you're using your shields to, because you're a necker. You play with their boons. That's your toy.
Boon
You move
twisting.
them, convert them. Yeah, boon twisting.
Sit there with your curly mustache. Boon
It's like,
twisting.
But yeah, so that's the focus thing. So people might go to focus now since the range increases now baseline, and then now that the skills recharge a little faster. My only beef though that they should probably change are the cast times. They're so long. I think Spell Service is like a second and a half. That's
Well,
as long as kill shot.
Well, do you think that, again, I'm just bringing up a point, is that the fact that, and I think most people don't take this into consideration, is that the range of it being increased to 1200 would maybe factor into that, maybe? Because if it was like a melee range skill, then I could definitely see it being way too long. That's ridiculous, especially. But do you think maybe, like, for instance, I think Spinal Shivers could be dropped down to like 1 second, maybe a little more, like maybe to like 3/4, and that'd be fine. But I'm just curious if you think range is a factor there.
Oh, this is the one thing too I wanted to kind of mention about it, is that the range is nice if you want to catch someone trying to run away. Because you get an automatic chill. If someone's like trying to just rush away or heartseek your way, you just cast this. Usually they don't look behind them, and then you can help close the gap that way.
Right.
Because the range, that 1200 range is actually kind of nice.
I don't know if range would come into effect though, because you can start hitting people from farther away, but when you're talking about like cast times versus skill cooldowns and stuff like that, I mean, I don't know, I suppose range is factored into it, but I don't know. I personally wouldn't.
So yeah.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't really be bothered by the range on something as opposed to like the damage versus its cooldown or the damage versus its cast time, stuff like that. Stuff that I don't know. Those seem a bit more. They seem to play off of each other more than just the range you have on something. Because, like, for example, you've got 1500 range longbow ranger skills, and they have relatively short cooldowns. It's I don't know. Range has never really factored into like how I look at balance. I mean, obviously, yes, it does have an effect on balance, but I mean, range doesn't really mean anything if they're, say, hiding behind something, or if they're down a hill and you can't see them. It's more of a when can you start using the skill as opposed to how balanced is the skill is a type. That's kind of how I've looked at a lot of those range things.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, which is true. I mean, you have longbow. It's like 8 seconds for rapid fire.
I believe so.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's
It's
really
very short.
Yeah,
I've always looked at that, and again, there's a multitude of ways you can look at balance. I've always considered that to be kind of one of them because, again, when we take into consideration, say, and this is just to go a little bit off topic, and I'm sorry, is like, say, rifle knockback on engineer, versus, say, a banish on a guardian. Range is such a huge factor, regardless if it's instant or not. At least for me. I mean, I can see where you're getting at, Shin, and I completely agree with you in that regard. But I think maybe just a little bit should be taken into consideration.
Yeah, I'm not saying like don't factor range at all, but I'm like I don't know. It seems to be less of a factor than weighing the damage versus, say, the cooldown or the cast time.
Fair enough.
All right, we kind of spiteful talisman to death.
Sorry, dude.
That's okay, no problem. But yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion on it. I mean, one more thing too is that it just gives us an answer for people who are really out of range, because our only reliable like 1200 range things are auto attack, staff, and life blast. Yeah. It just helps us, get more pressure at range, if anything. All right, so moving on, Reaper's Might. This is something that I want to actually kind of tweak, but did it change? This is basically you use life blast and you get 1 stack of might each life blast, which lasts about 15 seconds. Which is nice, especially if you use strength runes, it goes up to like 20 seconds. But here's one thing that I would probably add to it to make it a little nicer in parties, and maybe add might as an AoE. Like, give your party some AoE on each life blast, even if it does mean making it go to a master trait. I don't care. This will help us be in a party more, because your life blast hits like a truck.
It really does.
You already have a trait that lets it pierce and everything, but maybe giving it AoE might help it. Just saying.
That'd be cool, yeah.
That'd actually be really nice. It's kind of like failing Strength Warrior, but not on, say, the Greatsword. It'd be more, it'd be on your life blast. And
it just didn't cast like once. Like, it has like a second cast time, so you're getting might, but not too much might. I guess Phalanx, you can stank it really fast.
Plague Blast is the Lich form version, right?
Oh, that's right, isn't it?
No, that's Life Blast.
No, Life Blast. Plague Blast that's underwater.
Oh,
right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I just think maybe adding Might A on the UAE would be nice.
It's actually a longer cast time than you think. It says 1 second, but it's actually 1.4. A lot of these tooltips are actually way off for a lot of these skills. Yeah, it's 1.4 is the approximate attack speed for that. So it's actually almost 50% longer or slower than the tooltip states. Probably due to the aftercast.
Yeah, I was going to say aftercast with the animation.
But yeah, this is basically your life blast is going to be the only thing you're going to be spamming Death Shroud anyways, and going down the trait, just viewing over them, there's a lot of things that you get with Death Shroud now, which kind of makes you think, do they want us to just stay in Death Shroud, or can I not use like my whole utility bar, you know what I mean? Because a lot of things that they added, they're like, oh, when you're in Death Shroud, you get this, when you enter Death Shroud, you get this, when you stay in Death Shroud, you get these.
That's all you need. That's all.
Well, that's the thing too.
Necromancer has been renamed to Death Shroud.
Yeah, you remove every utility, just let us have our 5 skills.
You now roll a Char Death Shroud.
But yeah, so I don't know. This adding might be nice for that trait. So nothing really changed about that either. So it's that's the same. All right, but Bitter Chill is a new one. Basically, chilling a foe gets vulnerability. They said that wait, how much is the stack? I think it's
5.
5 stacks.
Yeah, it's 5 right now. But numbers.
So,
numbers.
Numbers for now. Maybe it'll be like 50 later. All right, anyways,
I'm okay with that.
Your only chill is gonna be off of your staff 3, your dark path, and spinal shivers. As for weapon skills, I'm pretty sure it got all of those. But if anything, this is the power line, and you're probably not gonna be using I use staff on my power build. I love staff, but people won't probably be using staff on their power builds, and This is one thing about that might synergize with the Spiteful Talisman. Is if people do run, like let's say Dagger Focus, the chill, you'll be proccing the 5 stacks with your focus skill and the 5 stacks when they get to 50%. So that's 10 stacks of Vuln right there. And overall, this is again going back to the Vuln stacking thing. Overall, it's gonna increase your damage output, but oh wait, one more thing too I wanted to mention is that Plague Form has a blind, right?
Yeah.
And then later on I'm gonna be talking about it. There's a chill on blind. So this is like a triple synergy kind of thing. So when you're in Plague Form, if you blind something, you chill them. If you chill them, you vuln them. And when you're running around in Plague Form, you're literally invincible. So you can be very disruptive to a crowd on top of stacking 5 stacks of vuln every tick. That is if there is no internal cooldown.
That would be nice, yeah.
It doesn't say there's an internal cooldown there. So
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's like
Numbers.
each second you're doing 5 stacks of vuln. So in a group fight, this could be pretty devastating.
yeah, I mean numbers, but yeah, I mean no internal cooldown as it is. Yeah,
Absolutely.
the only problem though is the running theme. It's still very selfish. It's still and it's also easily overwritten by other classes because you got NGs and warriors and everyone else who does vuln.
Yeah, so like I said, this is one of those things where it's like, hey, let's just give them more vulnerability, yay!
Yay!
But yeah, I don't. That's just the only thing I can really see being kind of cool is the Plague Form chill kind of wombo combo thing.
Yeah, the triple chain combo of necro death and destruction.
Yeah, pretty
Do
much.
it.
But yeah, so there's that. And okay, so moving on to the next minor trait, Death Embrace. So rip Downstate Necro. Just saying. You now do 25% while down X out of 50%. I mean, it's still gonna be strong, but you lose that 25% of your DPS. So, rip Downstate Necro for a while.
Good riddance.
But what? It's so fun though.
Arken's just
evil,
Arken's
man.
just salty over all
Here,
the
let me
bugs
just
that can
down
fix.
you, and I'm at
Yeah.
80% health, and you just destroy me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm done.
Free
Done.
debate.
I'm gonna go make a sandwich.
But it's kind of fun. It's funny too. But you get it for free now. So technically, when I was running it, it was not really built to find it, but having that trade in there, I would totally have that over Smite because 50% while down is pretty nuts. And once you get them down, there's no winning it unless they're like if they get a vengeance off and stomp you. Even then, you'll have really low health. But anyways, moving on. More vulnerability, as you can see in the second part of it. So when you hit someone when they're below 33%, was it like 5 stacks? Let me check.
Yeah, it says 5 stacks on
This
this.
is 5
but,
stacks.
So,
So,
numbers.
yeah,
Numbers.
So this is more of the slow volley stuff. So when you get them low, it's more executioner style. You get 5 stacks of fallen. So I can't say much again. This might be cool for like world bosses again if they root the stacks, because if they're below 33% and you just keep poking them, get that fallen stack up there. But like I said, I'm not gonna go too much into it again. This is just more fallen stacking, if anything. But the downstate thing is, just rip Downstate Necro.
Rip
You'll
Downstate
be remembered.
Necro.
You'll be remembered. Alright, but moving on to Chill of Death. This is one of the more... This is pretty much what every Necro ran on a power build, because it's just too good. Basically, when you hit 50% or lower, you proc Spinal Shivers, which is... It hits like a truck, like I said. It removes 3 boons and hits like a truck. Probably
And-
up to 4 to 5k.
And it's unblockable.
And it's unblockable. And it applies chill.
What?
Yeah, it's unblockable.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
as long
Yeah,
as
it
you
is.
remove those boons, it does the damage.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, again, another thing that we were talking about. Everyone's going to have boons. At least one. More than that, if anything. So, very, very strong for sure.
So this will help, if they do decide to change up that no boons, more damage thing, this will help, play into that as well.
Right.
But this is a really strong trait. It still is very strong, and now we can proc it downstate. So if someone's trying to stop you in stability, if they're below 50%, you can remove that stability, and even a good chance of just actually when you're down, you can remove the stability, then use your number 2 to fear them off and keep hitting them for whatever your downstate damage is. But it helps give some counterplay when you're in downstate. People think, oh look, I have stability, herp derp, I'm gonna stop you for free. Oh wait, where would stability go?
Why am I running away?
Yeah, it's like what the hell, man? So that works as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very strong trait. Moving on, Death Shiver. Hey, more vulnerability. I'm getting so sick of this. So they said personally that 6 stacks was a little too strong, but in my mind, I'm like, stop giving us vulnerability, please.
Nah.
We already have so much, but this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about too. Like I mentioned earlier, this pretty much forces us to sit in Death Shroud if we want to actually be useful to a party. But why can't we get anything else? Like maybe every 3 seconds while we're sitting in Death Shroud, give Might or give Fury to my party instead of vulnerability, which we probably already capped at 25 in a decent party.
Well, do you think because this is more of your DPS focused line is because of that?
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I was gonna comment like, I was thinking this is your power damage like DPS line. I was thinking maybe stuff like that. More of the support stuff we're looking for would be more in what is it, blood magic? I think.
Well, if anything, I think my mind is still stuck in PvE right now. Like I'm just picturing myself in a stacked group with a bunch of mobs, so that's my bad. But in a PvP aspect, yes, this is pretty cool because it helps you. Like if you're in a 1v1 and someone starts trying to 1v1 you, every 3 seconds you're applying 6 stacks of Vaughn. If you keep them there for, I don't know, like 15 seconds, that's already almost a lot of foam. And your life blast will hit for a ton.
Well, that's the thing, is and something I've also noticed is that especially as a power necro, your life and I'm a DPS guardian. I drop Necromancer's life force like it's nothing, especially if they're running Zerker.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even 5 seconds is pushing it in a lot of cases, especially, and that's just against one player. Against like a coordinated burst, you're looking at even much less than that, especially with the ability to apply that vulnerability consistently. So, I mean, it seems like a nice trait. It just seems like if you're running your power build, your life force is just going to be drained a little too quickly for it to take effect.
Yeah, but there's also that thing where they baseline increased their life force by 15%. But no, I do agree. You're like Midgard burst is just way too crazy.
Yep. Don't hate.
Unless we can lock them down with something like Get Them a Fury or
Don't
lock
hate.
them down with what is it, Tainted Shackles. But yeah,
Don't hate.
but it is still nice. I mean, if we pop like at least 12 stacks on you, and then we do leave that shot, we still have 12 stacks to work with in our regular
Of
form.
course.
So dagger auto attack still hits like a truck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
Death Shiver seems like it's an interesting mechanic, but yeah, it's the Vuln problem again. It's very
more foam. I mean, yes, foam equals more damage, but sometimes too much of a good thing might be too,
Well,
Especially if it's capped.
Yeah.
I mean, half the stuff you've got in this line, it's like Vuln overkill. Like, just you got more than you'll ever need.
Yeah, we just have way too much of it anyways. That's what I see. Alright, but that's like I said, this is more orienting around, best shot stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just sitting in there if you really want to be supporty. Alright, but moving on to Axe trading. So Axe is still very unpopular in a lot of Axe. I mean, maybe PvE might be nice, but in PvP it's still very poop. Because it's still a short 600 range is not very much. I mean, unless you're fighting on a node, sure, there's that. But it needs something else. Like we don't have a consistent around maybe 900 range like attack, and that kind of sucks, especially because we're there like standing there. We don't have any answers to like ranged people. We can't close gaps. We don't have blinks. We don't have a rush. We don't have a leap, to close that gap. So maybe if they increased Axe, like Axe Trainer would increase it maybe like 150 or even 300. This is the range problem again. But coming from a Necro who doesn't have any mobility skills, if we're just standing there, we should have at least something to help alleviate that distance.
You technically have Dark Pact and Death Shroud, right?
Yeah, but that thing's cast like it's like a turtle. When you see it pop out, you're like, oh, look, it's
Yeah,
thing
you have
coming
to
to me
chain that
on.
with fear, or else it
Yeah,
doesn't
if you
work.
chain into fear, then that's your play. But if that's stability, or if they doubt your fear, then you're out of it.
Yeah. Now, one thing like this, when you were talking about how Axe isn't really liked all that much, it immediately brought me back to how Shield isn't liked very much on Guardian, and offhand Axe isn't liked very much on Warrior. This could be a situation where they're looking at the Axe and they're tweaking stuff. They're changing how things function, or they're changing numbers or something. Like they could very easily be bumping the range up to like 900 or something like that. They could very easily be looking at why Necros don't like Axe and fixing them. We don't know.
Right.
Now, say they did do that. Would you be more interested in Axe training?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, technically this would be kind of like a build-defining trait too, because if you're going to be using Axe, you're going to want Axe traits. But then again, I want to say that considering that you can only take one trait from one of these categories now, I still think Chill of Death kind of just outclasses it. Even if
I agree.
you're running Axe, it's still going to be better to take Chill of Death instead of Axe training.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have like that big damage rather than just. And, well, one thing about this thing too is this whole like 2% reduction thing. It's cute, but it's, I don't know. It's still kind of weird. It's like you hit something, you reduce your cooldown by 2%, and 2% of what, 8 seconds is very minimal.
I still think it's an interesting mechanic, if anything.
It is.
Oh yeah, no, it's
cool.
interesting. I mean, I'm liking how they're kind of like opening doors and getting out of their little box, but it could do a little better. Like they said on stream, it's basically supposed to be like your auto attack, then your number 2, then rinse and repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean they could always numbers. They could always buff it.
Yeah, numbers, of course. But it is a unique mechanic that I think only we have something like this right now that reduces cooldowns, not counting Chronomancer, of course.
That Chronomancer hype.
That Chronomancer.
Well, we'll have to mention something about that at some point during this because
all these specialization hypes. But yeah, so Axe rating, so Axe still needs a little bit more love, I want to say. And don't forget that they reduced things like their aftercast delay with like the last patch, but no one still uses it. Let's see. Next is Siphon Power. Oh, so Siphon Power. This is kind of nice because back then it was when you got hit, you gain might. So it's kind of like that masochistic kind of thing. It's like, yes, hit me. Oh, I'm getting stronger. But now it's nothing like that. It's just that you hit someone and you get a stack of two stacks of might. I think is the tooltip.
I'm noticing kind of a running theme that ANET's been doing with a lot of these changes. Like they did something very similar with Fury's Reaction for Warrior with the changes. They're changing a lot of those things where instead of you getting hit and getting something, it's when you strike someone under a certain health threshold. I don't know how I feel about it, but I mean it seems like a running trend they've got with a lot of things. Is instead of they're taking out a lot of the masochistic traits, so to say, and they're moving it to something else that is more like offensive or more proactive.
Yeah, so it's mostly on like your side, like it's up to you, not like it's like, oh, I need to get hit to activate this trait. It's like, why? I don't want to get hit for this kind of useful trait to kind of proc. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's that. But the thing about this is that I think this Smite, well, then they get numbers, depending on how long the might lasts, because it looks like it's a 5-second internal cooldown. If it lasts maybe 10 seconds, you're only getting 4 stacks of might total out of this trait. But like I said, if there's no internal cooldown and when you hit someone, depending on what you're hitting them with, they might have to swap out like, oh, if there is no internal cooldown, they might just reduce the duration or these stacks of might, because like I said, if this is going to be how it is, you're only getting maybe like 4 stacks of might out of this trait, which isn't very much for a Grandmaster minded trait.
Yeah, I mean it's still minor though, so you're getting this for free. So I mean,
oh yeah, 4 stacks of might though. I mean, don't the warriors have like Guardians have a trait that if you block, you get might with no internal cooldown.
Yeah, they also buff that too.
You and your shelter.
Oh
hey,
my God.
dude, and I was trying to tell him this week, and this sucks because the thing about that versus this is that pigeonholes me to using that skill even more, which I don't like.
Yep.
Versus again, I'm not trying to justify that the trait, but it's just like with that, at least you can get it regardless of what skill you're using because you're still going to be hitting.
Yeah,
so,
it's free.
I mean, it sucks. The might doesn't seem like it's very long, but I guess as long as you're not pigeonholed into a specific weapon set, it doesn't seem as terrible. I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. I see what you're getting at, but yeah, okay. As a minded trait, then I think it's okay, but it might be looked at. Numbers.
Numbers.
All right. Numbers. Moving on.
I'm just gonna jump in real quick here. This is related to the podcast and not what we're talking about. There's actually a storm happening here, so if suddenly the podcast cuts out or like right now the stream broadcast cuts out, that would be me losing power. So just a heads up.
Get on your bicycle, man. Run! That manual generator stuff.
Yep. Get going.
I call dibs on Shin stuff if it gets blown away.
Do it.
Alright, but anyways, moving on to Signet Master. This used to be a Master, now it's Grandmaster. But Signets.
Signets.
Yeah. Signets, yay! This is pretty much ate its little redhead child of a skill. But anyways, except for heal sig, of course. Not counting heal sig, but Signet. So, activating Signal to Locust when struck below 50%. So if anyone doesn't know the active Signal to Locust, you get healing per target around you, and right now it stands at about maybe 800 to 900 per target. Without any healing power, of course. But they did say that they were going to be changing around Signal to Locust, and in my eyes, this would be cool if it works this way. Okay, so if you look at Mesmer clones and Shatter, basically you have that base Shatter with like one clone, but when you have more clones that you shatter, it doesn't stack like, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. It's more like 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500. So it kind of balances it with however many clones you have. With this skill, I think maybe what they should do is buff the base heal to maybe like 2,000-ish, and then for each target you hit, it's not going to be like 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. It'll be like 2,000, maybe 3,000, 4,000, because the way this works is that, let's say if you're in a duel, if it's a 1v1, if you use this and you heal for like 1,000, that's not very rewarding in a 1v1 situation. But if it gets wrapped up to maybe like 2,000, you get a nice base heal, and then maybe if you're in an outnumbered fight, it's not going to be, oh, I'm going to get 2,000 for each target. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a diminishing kind of effect, if anything, because if you're using Locust Signet right now, you get 1,000 heal for a Signet. It's not very great.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to
I can
like
see that,
diminishing
especially as a
kind of
GM.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a Grandmaster trait too, so that's just one thing I'm worried about. But then again, numbers. But that was just my kind of functionality. I would like
say
to
make it
see
over 9,000.
Over 9,000.
Over 9,000.
For 9,000.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mention something though, Choxie. Heal Sig is probably gonna get nerfed passively. We're gonna have a reason.
Really?
We're gonna have a reason to press it. Yeah, they're probably going to nerf the passive, buff the active heal, and give us resistance for X number of seconds.
That would be nice.
Well, now.
And hopefully make our other heals worth running. But we talked about that last time.
Right.
Yeah, I think Mending is a pretty cool guy.
Mending's cool, but it doesn't heal for enough, and it makes me sad.
Yeah. But that's just my... Oh, and also for Signet Mastery, of course, you get Might, plays into the power. But this in a sense will help with like sustainability, or more sustained for Necros if you're running like power builds with that heal from this Signal to the Locust. And also apparently it synergizes with itself, so it reduces cooldowns as well. So it's a 24-second. Every 24 seconds you get that heal under 50%. Which is interesting. That is if the fight lasts that long.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, what I'm trying to say is that diminishing thing might be a nice thing, because right now, like Signal to the Locust kind of sucks when you're using it by yourself. Like you use the 30-second cooldown for 900 HP. That ain't great.
How about that?
And you lose that on the movement speed.
How about that Signet Vampirism?
Vampirism, those things are everywhere. Oh, that's in it? Oh, I thought you were talking about runes.
The new heal.
The heal
you
one?
Yep.
Yeah, that's still poop. I didn't even know it existed. Wait, what?
I think everyone's new heal is poop.
Pretty much.
I'm pretty sure nobody uses their new heal. I'll be honest with you.
I think someone at ANET was drunk or something, or half asleep when they were doing the Guardian and Warrior ones.
Oh gosh.
The Warrior one is still pretty funny though.
It's interesting, but it's like, why is it not on Guardian? And why did Guardians get the one that should be on the Warrior?
Yeah, that was
technically
completely backwards.
I think that should be that should have been swapped if anything.
I still wouldn't take it, but whatever.
So funny seeing a Warrior heal into a Zerg and just laugh, or be like, "Thanks for the heals."
Yeah.
All right, but
close to death.
Close to death. So of course your typical execution and trait. Nothing changed. I can't really say much about it. I guess almost every class is something like this. I think Ellies have Bolt to the Heart. Thieves have that same thing. Execution is stuffs.
They're adding more and more to these classes.
Yeah,
they are. But what they should do, and again, this is just to break off a little bit of a point, is that they need to make it so that the new ones that they do add, that they're not stronger than the current executioner ones, because again, with the new ones, in a lot of cases, depending upon which one you have, you could have that up a lot more than the executioner on top of it being below 50%. So I'm really hoping that they look I don't want them to change these. What I'm saying is these seem to be fine. Below 50% health, it's meant to execute to finish them off. What I'm saying is the new ones from other classes who are also getting something very similar. I don't want those new ones to be stronger than the current executioner traits that current classes have. Is all.
Oh, like they add too much to it, or some kind of like different effect to it. Yeah.
Well, they add like a stipulation that's too easy to achieve outside of the 50% threshold is what I mean. You know what I mean? So I'm just hoping that they look at that and realize, okay, well, this class got a 20% buff, but maintaining it is a lot easier than, just dropping someone below 50% health, which is actually kind of hard to do, especially in a group fight with a lot of sustain running around.
I will say that Warriors have kind of had something like that since launch, Merciless Hammer. In fact, it used to be even stronger.
Right.
That's anytime someone is CC'd, you do 20% more damage.
Right.
With a hammer.
Right.
And hammer hits like a truck, so.
And hammer does hit like a truck. Yo, I scored like a girl when I gave by a hammer. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you?
It was like, oh.
I will say one thing about hammer on Warrior, and this is just my thing on it, is that if you can avoid the initial, I forgot what's the I completely forgot. No, it's not backbreaker. It's the other one.
Which one? Or shaker?
It's the one where it's one where you spin around. I feel like an idiot.
Staggering blow.
If you can avoid staggering blow, the rest of it's easy. Honestly, to avoid. It really is. Because that is the only one that is relatively hard to dodge.
I don't make it easy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that in general, in terms of animations and cast time, that is the only one that's relatively hard to dodge. If you avoid that, the rest of it's like, well, this one's easy, this one's easy. I mean, it's just, that's all I'm saying, is that there definitely is, a realm of easiness in terms of avoidance. And, you can always, never mind, I'm a guardian. I was just saying, you can always pop your blocks. You can't really do that as a necro, but yeah, that's all.
Yeah, so that's the whole executioner thing. All right, but moving on to Spiteful Spirit. Good move. This trait, shoutouts to Rye Guy. I was playing with it a little bit earlier, and for Spiteful Spirit, it's actually kind of nice. It does hit through stealth, which is pretty cool. What I was testing is that if you are fighting a thief, if you use his skill, now basically if you pop Death Shroud, you'll cast his skill, and if you get retail, that means you hit the thief, and now he's crippled and lost a boon. So it did kind of give some counterplay to like melee classes, because not only are you crippling them when they're around you, you're also removing a boon. And combined with things like the reduced Death Shroud trait, which is like puts it on 7 seconds. Every 7 seconds, you can literally cripple and remove a boon. So this is pretty neat, I'm gonna say.
Well, I mean, 15-second cooldown internally.
Oh, is it ICD?
Yeah.
15 is. Yeah, if you click the tooltip, it's there.
God damn it, I keep forgetting about that.
Even if it didn't have an ICD, it's still kind of weak, I think.
Well, I don't know if that's into the cooldown, though, because that's the actual skill cooldown.
Well,
so, this is numbers.
Yeah, it's numbers, and you would think if it's casting the actual skill, which they did say they were trying to do more of because they want things to play off of other things more, that it would just have the same cooldown because it's the same skill.
Well, Weakening Shroud it's a 30-second cooldown on Dagger, but it's there's no internal cooldown when you enter Death Shroud. But it did get nerfed.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the Death Shroud version.
I was gonna say at the moment, I think a lot of those skills have a separate version of what they're proccing, so that's why it can have no internal cooldown. And I think they're moving away from that and they're going with just casting the actual another of that actual skill.
Yeah. So I mean, if this doesn't get nerfed, though, it's pretty strong. If they do nerf it, it might just maybe lower the cripple time, but
I don't think it's very strong, honestly.
I think it's pretty neat.
Only because retaliation is such a terrible boon, in my opinion. I hate retaliation. I think it's. We were discussing this last week.
Retail sucks.
Retail sucks. It is the worst boon in the game. I actually hope they remove it, or do what we were talking about a week ago, was to make it a very, very, very short duration boon, but you reflect the amount of damage you're about to take. You still take the damage, but you still reflect back what you were about to take. So that would
more than just 200.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it just I hate retaliation.
Yeah, but besides the retaliation, I just think the other functionality, the cripple and the remove boon, is.
Oh, of course, yeah. The decent amount of damage.
The irony of someone hating retail who plays a class that you have retail majority of the time.
I know, right? Oh.
But yeah, I do like that. I do like where they're going with that. But then again, this is of course playing into the more Death Shroudy stuff because you need Death Shroud to proc it. But yeah, that's the Spite line. Overall, just a lot of Vuln. About that. There's a lot of Vuln. That's all I gotta say. And just a couple fun things, but not a lot. Really, just not a lot. They just really want to power spec with the vulnerability stacking, which I don't agree with. Alright, but moving on to curses, everyone's favorite line, Kandi hype. Alright, so Bard Precision, gotta go fast. This is basically Bard Precision, the trait, combined with Hemophilia, the trait. This is nice because you get it for free, and it's just gonna help spike up our bleed damage or Kandi pressure.
That's a nice minor, dude.
Yeah, it's a very nice minor for free. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Because you had to choose between the two before. Now, no, actually, Bard was minor. Hemophilia was strong.
This is Precise Strikes, but better. Now I'm sad.
Wait, how does Precise Strikes work?
Precise Strikes is a 33% chance on crit to do bleeding, and with our new version, it's like, I guess it's a 50% increase for us. But
What?
You complaining?
I'd trade for that.
I have that any day. No, but technically for a class that does encompass Kandis, I think this is nice still.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, we already have a lot of Kandi duration, especially with that use, that new curse trait we'll go over later. Alright, but that's a nice little free bonus there. Toxic Landing, this is something that I really what the fuck about. Sorry for swearing, but...
No, it's fine.
Arken does it all the time, we don't care.
Everyone has this kind of trait. It's terrible, you know? Everyone has it.
But, fall damage traits. Who here really runs fall damage traits? Except for maybe Warrior, because it's hilarious.
Because it's awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's awesome. But
I was
but
gonna
more
say,
practical, no. I don't see anybody running it.
I was gonna say that I don't mind fall traits. They have a place, but you know, I may be biased because of the one I have.
Because you have the most fun one.
Yep.
Before the Mesmer nerf one, of course, that thing one-shot everyone. Remembers that shit. But, I don't know why the hell they put Corruption Recharge to a fall damage trait. That's my question. It's like someone was drunk and wanted to combine something and like, okay, let's just put Corruption Recharge with the fall damage trait, because that totally synergizes with each other. But technically they wanted to synergize it by making the poison, corrosive poison cloud. But whenever are you going to be jumping on someone, popping a field, and they're going to be standing in it, honestly? Unless it's maybe Skyhammer and you just happen to jump off like one of those little cliffs onto the node. It's not very great. I don't know what to say about this trait.
What if they added slow to this?
Then it'll be pretty cool, but still it's very impractical.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a fall trait, but I mean, you're popping a field, and you wouldn't want them to run out of the field, so slow.
Okay, that would be pretty cool then.
Or chill.
Wait, does slow reduce movement speed?
Yes.
Oh.
It's incredibly infuriating.
Oh, okay. Well, first-hand experience right here, folks. Alright, so that would be pretty sweet. But we just have to, like I said, it's wherever you can jump off a cliff onto someone, then yeah, it's pretty cool. But I just don't agree with the Corruption Recharge being in there, because things like Corrupt Boon, Epidemic, what else? Blood is Power, that doesn't really synergize at all, except for Corrosive Poison Cloud. But yeah, I would probably skip that. Alright, Weakened Shroud, like, this is what I was talking about earlier. This is the one that casts Enfeebling Blood around you. And this is technically going to be different from the dagger version. So when you enter Death Shroud, you cast Enfeebling Blood, which does weakness and bleed. It didn't change at all, but I love it because it helps get things like Thieves and Warriors off my butt.
It doesn't seem very strong. Only because the radius is kind of small.
No, I mean, well, it's about if something's on you and you pop Death Shroud. Yeah, that's the main use of it. If
I could see the radius being buffed though a little bit because of the internal cooldown's kind of high.
No, there's no internal cooldown. Well, if you remove it. There is none currently, but if they remove it, then cool.
Right.
Right now,
I'm just looking at what I see. That's all. I mean, if it's at 25 seconds, which I'm looking at, then the radius should be buffed to compensate.
That's a dagger. That's a dagger cooldown.
Okay.
Yeah, but then again, numbers.
But
I do like it because it helps me deal with melee classes. That 2 seconds of weakness can save your butt. Whether it's them just auto attacking you or getting a backstab. Yeah, so that's why I use it in my build. And then next is Chilling Darkness. We talked about this. This is basically when you chill something, you blind them. Oh no, when you blind something, you chill them, and then this synergizes with the Spite line. If you blind them, or if you chill them, you foam them. So this is a triple play thing. This never got changed. This is only
nice.
Yeah, it is nice though with things like Plague Form. If you just herp derp in Plague Form, you can chill them while blinding them, and they really can't run out of it because they're really slowed by chill. Also works quite nice with Wall of Darkness, but no one really uses Wall of Darkness nowadays.
Now, one thing that I should probably mention about that triple, you know, the blind chill vuln thing is in order to do that after this change, you're gonna have to take 2 of your specs to have that full synergy.
Yeah, that's the thing too, because you can only take 3 now, and you can't just take, oh, I just want this little piece out of this one, this little piece out of this one. So you're gonna have to dedicate yourself to the power line. But that's where things kind of suck, because if you want, want a Kandi, nothing really in the power line kind of helps you out. Everything is vuln, damage. Unless you're running like a like a sinister hybrid build, then maybe. But then again, like you mentioned, you have to really dedicate yourself to that line.
Yeah, because right now, Chilling Darkness is still an adept, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like right now, yeah, you can split them no problem if you really wanted to do that.
Yeah, you can
It
use
seems
like
a little
a
out of line, doesn't it? Again, you're looking at something that requires you to be in plague form, which is not a power elite by any stretch,
right?
And your power line, which inflicts a Kandi. A little weird. Just a little bit.
There's just some weird things being thrown around, and there's other combinations that'll probably work better than what they already kind of did, but can't really say much. It's their game. All right, so with Fury's Demise, you get Fury entering Death Shroud. You get more Death Shroud traits. This has been there forever, but it hasn't been changed. It's just enter Death Shroud. It's kind of nice, considering that you could just flash Death Shroud, get 3 seconds Fury, and then just shank things with your dagger. But then again, there you go again. This is a curse line, and it's kind of more benefiting power. But then again, it's a precision line.
Yeah, Bard Precision.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to what Arms does for Warrior.
Well, do you think they're trying to do this to actually compensate for those Necros who say use Rabid Amulet? Or actually lack of Rabid Amulet to help proc off those, crit traits, or I'm sorry, sigils, that would assist with those who don't run it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, that's always been the thing with this trait line, because they've always had things like Bard